In this video, I'm going to show you how I made this 200 gram 9 karat gold skull bracelet with garnets set in the eyes. Enjoy it. This is the bracelet that we're copying. So we're going to take a link off and make a mold. So these links actually pull open. So I've opened it up, taken one off, and that is currently being super glued to a piece of silver wire. Once that's dry, I'm going to make a mold of that link and do exact copies. Now we just want to vacuum all the air out of this so it's got the best finish, otherwise you'll have all little air bubbles and you'll be able to see it on your piece. So we'll leave it in there for a couple minutes. So now I'm just going to transfer the rubber into the mould. Just going to vacuum it again. So this is now set, fully clear. Just got to peel it out. Does normally end up breaking a little bit around where the stem is that leads to what you're making a mold of. I've yet to find a way to stop that happening. It's got like a little bulge in there where it split it, but not a problem, come out fine still. And I'm just gonna slice around everything, dig away until I get to that skull. So that's where the skull was wedged in it. Pulled it out. And it's time to give this a little test on the wax injector. See what kind of quality we're working with. So I'm going to put these two halves together. Press on it firmly. Shoot wax into the wood. And we'll leave that for a minute to solidify. And then we'll open it up. Just got to do it carefully so you don't break it apart. There we go. Well, we just peel this out of here. This little bridge part has been breaking on them, but it's going to be easy to melt that back together before we cast it. So we've made two more than we actually need. If something goes wrong with one of them, we can just switch it out with one of the others. When you're doing this many of the same thing, it's almost inevitable that something's going to go wrong somewhere, whether it's a little bit like this that can be fixed along the way, or when you're casting, one of them may end up a little bit too porous to work with, so it's better to have, you know, enough to switch them out. What I'm doing, I'm just filling in the backs of some of these links with a bit of extra wax so we can bring it up to the weight that the customer's looking for. I'm just bending these to little sections that fit in the back. Got an extraction fan here, suck all the smoke away, and I'm just melting it using a soldering iron. A little bit of overkill, the soldering iron, but does the job. You got to be careful not to puncture a hole through it because it's so hot that it can easily do that. What I'm doing now is just attaching them to that central sprue. That's all of them attached. Now we just got to add the investment powder to it. So there's everything in the furnace. We're just going to run a burnout cycle and we'll come back to that when it's finished. So this is the customer's gold that we're using, as well as a little bit of ours to make up the difference. I think the main bit they want in is this sentimental bracelet, but I've also got a load of other bits there. And that'll take 10 minutes or so to melt up. I'm going to get it out of the furnace, put it in the vacuum, and then pour the gold in. Alright, let's take a look. So what happened there was I left it in the investment pot for too long before quenching it, and I had to hammer it all out, and some of these skulls got snapped off inside there. I pulled it out and thought, cool, I'm missing a few. Well, I was, because they were still inside the pot. But there's 4. We're going to dry these off and get this investment powder off. Just going to heat these up a bit, get some of that discoloration off. Going to do it in 2s, I think. So we'll do this one, the one to the right of it. Don't want to get it cherry red, otherwise it might melt it, but nice and hot, maybe just before that point. The HC is changing there. That'll do. And there's the skulls with most of that discoloration off. Next up, we're just going to remove these little sprue bits on the back there. Most of that nub's gone. Just going to file over it. That'll do for that one. And we're just going to go through and do that on all of them. Right, what I'm doing now, just going over all these connection points and where the eyes are with a little ball bear. Just making sure it's all clean. What we're going to do now, there's a few spots like this little bit right above the brow that needs filling in. So I'm just going to put some solder in there and fill the gaps in. A little bit of Borax on the spot, put the soldering on, a little bit of solder, and then a little tiny bit of wire to help guide it. Now some of these skulls have these little mould lines on them, so I'm just going to get a rubber wheel and go around and get some of these out. So these have now got the stones set in them, and what we've got to do is bend this little arm round in on itself while looping through this hole. So I just did a tester one just to see how it goes. And what I'm going to do most of the turn without the next link in it. And then when we've got just enough gap, we can slot it through and do the last bit. Bit fiddly this bit. So I've just pushed a little bit of solder into that gap, and we're going to melt that to solidify the link. Just doing these in sections of 2, and then I'm going to put all the lots of 2 together. I don't know why, that's just the kind of way it's worked out. Just going to put together one of these groups. Again, I've got the solder wedged inside that link. So I'm just going to solder up the last link, and then we've just got to do the ends, and we're all done. So I've got a jump ring here. Just going to thread that through this end link, put the trigger clasp on it, bend that shut, and solder that up. That's now been in the pickle for a few hours, got most of that discoloration off, and now I'm just going to start going over it, give it a little polish up and get it looking nice. And there we have it, the bracelet all finished up, ready for the customer to collect. Hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for the next one.